And welcome back to New York Sports WickerMedia. I'm Wat2K99. Thank you, as always, for taking the time to watch these videos. So, with baseball feeling like it's about dead with the Mets out and the Jets being all but completely irrelevant, and of course, we're not yet at Halloween, I'm trying to shift my mind over to something where there's still a little bit of hope. The NHL season is now underway, and Tuesday night, October 22nd, is going to be a very exciting night. For the second straight year, the NHL is doing what's called the frozen frenzy. So all 32 teams will be playing, and everybody will be playing at a different start time. In most cases, it's going to be in about 15-minute increments. So what I wanted to do is come on here and preview it a little bit, talk about some of the matchups and what games really stand out to me. First of all, 3 of the games will be on ESPN. Every game will be on ESPN Plus if you do have the subscription, and there will be what's called a whip around coverage on ESPN2 from 8 p.m. to midnight. So even if you don't have ESPN Plus, you can watch the whip around coverage on ESPN2, basically the same thing as NFL Red Zone. The one thing, though, that's a little bit tricky with it is, at least with the NFL, in most cases, the drive is more slow. It's more methodical. It's like, oh, we're just hearing news that the Chiefs are at their opponent's 10-yard line or something. Let's cut over to that game. With hockey, it's a little bit harder because the goal, usually comes out of nowhere unless it's a power play. So I think that makes it a little bit more challenging on the production side of things. But let's talk about some of these matchups. So the first game of the night is Capitals at Flyers, 6 p.m. game on ESPN. Washington is coming into this game at 3-1, Flyers at 1-3-1, and our old pesky friend Tom Wilson has 5 goals for Washington. He can play hockey, got to admit it. Game number 2, the Minnesota Wild at the Florida Panthers, the reigning Stanley Cup champions, at 6:30. A lot of people thought Sam Reinhart was due to fall off after having a absolutely unbelievable season last year on offense. He resigns with Florida, signs a big money contract, and he's already got 5 goals, tied for 3rd in the league. Game number 3, this is one to watch. This is one I'm going to pay attention to. The Tampa Bay Lightning at the New Jersey Devils at 6:45. Nikita Kucherov with a league-high 7 goals for Tampa Bay. The Devils are leading the Metropolitan Division with 11 points, but also important to note, they've played 8 games already, whereas many of their rivals, like the Rangers and the Penguins, have played 5 or 6 games. Then at 7 o'clock, you've got the Stars against the Sabres, a Stanley Cup matchup, I think, back in 1999, as I try to find something interesting about that game. The Stars are a pretty fantastic team, in all fairness, and the Sabres are just perpetual underachievers. 7:15, the New York Rangers are going to be up in Quebec as they take on the Montreal Canadiens at 7:15 p.m. The Rangers have at least 1 point in all 5 games they have played. They are 4-0-1. The Canadiens 2-3-1. Rangers definitely the better team. They should win this game, but of course you never know. Artemi Panarin, 12 points for the Rangers. That is tied for the most points of any player in the NHL, along with Sam Reinhart and one other player I'm going to get to in a minute. 7:30, the Toronto Maple Leafs against the Columbus Blue Jackets. These 2 teams are Atlantic Division opponents. 7:45, you got the Detroit Red Wings at the New York Islanders. The Red Wings come in at 2-3, losing back-to-back games to the Rangers. The Islanders at 2-1-2, playing pretty well, but a few things to be concerned about. They are showing that knack for losing overtime games and shootouts, which was a huge problem last year. And unfortunately, Anthony Duclair, their big free agent signing, who was added to add some scoring punch to this lineup, is going to be out for a while. Of course, this is hockey, so we don't know how long. But from what Lou Lamoriello was saying, it is a long-term injury, but it is probably not season-ending. But that is a blow to the Islanders and their offense. 8 p.m., the Winnipeg Jets at the St. Louis Blues. This is a good one here. Winnipeg is tied for the Central lead with 10 points. Connor Hellebuck, their goalie, has a league-best 1.25 goals against average per game, and the Blues are only 2 behind the Jets. That Central Division is very, very packed up. Nobody's really pulling away or standing out at this point. 8:15, the Chicago Blackhawks will host the Vancouver Canucks. Those 2 teams had an amazing playoff rivalry about 10 years ago. 8:30, this game is going to be on ESPN. The Colorado Avalanche at the Seattle Kraken. Well, The Avalanche have been struggling, especially in goal, but they've had a few players stand out. Cale Makar, 12 points as well. He is the third player with 12 points in the league. And the fact that it's a defenseman makes it that much more impressive. And Ross Colton, who I barely even had heard of before this year, has 6 goals, tied for second in the NHL. 8:45, the Boston Bruins will be in Nashville to take on the Predators. Predators have not won a game yet. No doubt, probably the most disappointing team in hockey after making several marquee free agent signings such as Steven Stamkos, Jonathan Marchessault, and Brady Shea. 9 p.m., this is one I'm going to pay some attention to. The Carolina Hurricanes at the Edmonton Oilers at 9 p.m. These are two teams that have very, very high expectations that have gotten off to very slow starts. They're both going to try to get it right back on the right track. Just to do a little Matt Foley thing there for you. 9:15, Ottawa Senators at the Utah Hockey Club. Utah, got to give it to them. They can put the puck in the net. May not defend very well, but they sure can score. 9:30, the Pittsburgh Penguins at the Calgary Flames. 10:15, two hapless Pacific teams with San Jose at Anaheim. And the final game of the night will be on ESPN at 11 o'clock. I think this is going to be a good one as well, if I could stay awake for it. The LA Kings at the Vegas Golden Knights. So I'd say probably the 3 games I'm most interested in outside of the Rangers, because that's not really fair. I would say Lightning at Devils at 6:45, Hurricanes Oilers at 9 o'clock. And finally, for the third game, you could really go either Capitals Flyers or Blues Jets. Either one is fine. Just depends which conference you're paying more attention to. But for me, there's really no doubt that the 2 best games are Lightning Devils and Hurricanes Oilers. Well, I'll be watching a good amount of hockey on Tuesday night. I'm looking forward to it. Everybody have a great rest of your day, and I will see you right back here with more content from you know where. The Wicker Chair.